If the Fair Tax Act gets passed, it would create what we would call a monthly stimulus check or a universal basic income. Call it whatever you want. It's a monthly check for those most in need. But that part is getting overshadowed by the consumptions tax, which is a major part of this bill. And to give you a quick recap of how this works, for each good or service, which would apply to everything for everybody, for each good or service that is 77 cents, you'd simply add 23 cents to it. So, said another way, that would be 23 cents of every dollar would be our consumptions tax. You've probably also heard the 30% tax. The way that it is calculated is if you take 23 and divide that by 77 and round, that is going to be 30%. Another example would be something that cost $100. You would just simply add $30 to that, and the total bill would be $130. Now, whether or not you think 30% is the right number is really up for debate, and that's perfectly fine. But I think we can all agree that what really needs to occur is our entire tax system needs a major overhaul, and it needs to be simplified, which is fair for everybody. Because if you've seen some of my previous videos, which I talk a lot about taxes on this channel, this is the Secure Act 2.0. Look at this thing. This is ridiculous. Just one more act to make more rules and more regulations for our tax code that we need to navigate. And yes, I'm going to make a gazillion videos off of this stuff. However, it is ridiculous that I even need to go into that level of detail into any of this stuff in order just to pay our taxes and to be a contributing member of society. It's kind of ridiculous. But let's move on to the monthly check to show you what it looks like. And then I'm going to make some other points right after we talk about it. So they're based on the poverty lines. So you can see these from the HHS.gov website. And for a household of one, if you're single, then the poverty line is $14,580. If you're a household of two, it goes up to $19,720. But that's just not the whole story. So that's the poverty guidelines. And I put them here on a Google Sheet so you can see it a little bit clearer. So if you're a household of one, that poverty line is $14,580. This means that your monthly check or the annual rebate amount that you would receive, I don't want to call it a tax credit because it's not. You're getting this in advance. If it's a rebate, it's going to be an annual amount of $4,374. And the monthly rebate would break down to $365. Now, I put on a separate column here for those that are married filing jointly. That's because each spouse would qualify for that first initial amount of $4,374 for the year. And then each additional dependent or child would be an additional amount. So that's why it goes up incrementally after one, or if you're married filing jointly, after two. Now, if you're not married filing jointly, then you would be independent. If you weren't a dependent and you were doing this before you got married or whatever, then you would still get the $4,374. So there's not necessarily a benefit to be married filing jointly in these scenarios. I just wanted to point that out. But as you go up in household size, so if you're married filing jointly, household of four, that would be $11,832, which would be a check of $986 per month. Now, if you're looking at these numbers and you're still stuck on the fact that all goods and services would go up by 30%, I think that's a good thing. Why do I think that's a good thing? Because I think that more people need to rethink how the federal government is spending our own tax dollars. Because right now they're actually spending more than we're giving to them. They're asking to increase the debt ceiling. They're threatening to tap government retirement funds. But what they are not doing is being financially responsible and going back and cutting those frivolous expenses. In addition to that, the Fair Tax Act would likely promote financial responsibility for everybody. Why? Because if you don't spend the dollar, you don't have the tax. So maybe people will rethink it, save for their retirement, build up a cash reserve. In any case, the Fair Tax Act does a few things. It simplifies everything. It still helps those in need, and it creates responsibility, or it promotes responsibility for both government and individuals. So that is the Fair Tax Act. Not perfect, but a step in the right direction. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and we'll see you on the next one.